Our lead story of the day is woke insanity, folks. Things are continually getting worse here in our discourse with the progressive left, where you can't even have a serious conversation anymore. And I'm not even saying this was a serious conversation like 2 decades ago, because it wasn't even a conversation to be had. But the thing is that the left say this is super serious, right? When you talk about trans or non-binary or LGBTQ plus community, they say all this stuff is super serious. So when you ask them a serious question, you just get called transphobic or racist or whatever it may be in terms of the topic that you're discussing with them. And the reason why this is important is because the Senate Judiciary Committee had a hearing regarding the basically the ramifications and the concerns of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. And so Senator Hawley merely just stated that only women can get pregnant. And you had this UC Berkeley law professor and also abortion right advocate call him transphobic merely for just asking that question. We got a clip here for all of you, and it's crazy that this type of discourse is even taking place nowadays, but this is where we're at as a country. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Before I want to visit with you, Ms. Mensky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
It's a good question.
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive.
What other groups is she talking about? Can you let me know in the comments? And I really do mean this. I'm not just asking you to comment. I'm so baffled. They continue to talk about all these other groups that can get pregnant and have babies. I don't know what groups they're talking about, because only women can literally get pregnant and have babies. Men can't. I mean, if you want to talk about some sort of other species out there, sure. But we're talking right now about human beings. And as far as I'm aware, in all of human existence, no man has ever given birth. If you know of one, let me know in the comments down below as well, because I don't know a single story of that ever existing. Let's continue to roll it.
Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
Oh, God.
And it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So
this is what they do. They make it a serious issue, right? Roe v. Wade's a serious issue. Abortion is a serious issue. Trans people are serious issues because every 1 in 5 of them try to commit suicide. Their suicidal rates upwards of like 40%, which is a serious thing. But then when you ask them a serious question that goes against their narrative, or that it's tough for them to answer and it might cut directly against their beliefs and their belief system, then all of a sudden that's when the name calling comes out. You notice that? If any of you have seen Matt Walsh's film, What is a Woman? The same thing happens to him. Even as simple as what is truth?
Talk about social context. I'm just trying to start by getting to the truth, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really uncomfortable with that language of like getting to the truth. Again, in social life.
Why is that uncomfortable?
Because it sounds actually deeply transphobic to me. And if you keep probing, we're gonna stop the interview.
If I probe about what the truth is?
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude. I'm saying to you.
How is the word truth condescending and rude?
Why don't you tell me what your truth is? And you're walking on 30 seconds more of thin ice before I get up.
They can't answer and they lose their minds, and then they get all uncomfortable and start squirming and saying that you're harassing them or you're committing them harm, and that not just physical harm, but also mental harm. And they just act like knuckleheads. You guys, to put this in perspective, again, this is a law professor at UC Berkeley. If you have any doubt that you can be anything that you want to be in this country, just look at what's taking place right now. This person got a law degree. I mean, how the hell did she? I mean, the bar can't be that hard, right? If this type of person, a person that has stuff in her brain thinking that a man could give birth, I mean, we could do anything here. You know, listening to her almost makes you think you can defy gravity and start flying around the world. This is mind blowing. Let's continue.
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it.
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancy.
Why is she asking, are you? She just made a claim. She just told him that he was. And so he's merely asking, how is my line of questioning saying that they don't exist? And she's like, are you? Are you? Like, hey, where you at? Are you? Like, why are you acting like that? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people like this?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you? Or are
Absolutely.
they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
It is an extraordinary exchange, that's for sure. That should worry all of you, because when people go to college now, this is what they're going to get. I mean, you try to wrap your head around, right? Because lawyers are not dumb. I worked with lawyers when I was an accountant. There was a litigation department at the firm I worked for. A lot of people I worked for were CPAs, right? If you see somebody that is either a lawyer, passed the bar exam, or somebody that passed a CPA exam, they're not idiots. But clearly something has happened in our discourse, or whether it's in our academics or the bar exam or the CPA, where these knuckleheads are passing these things where they think that men can give birth, that women aren't the only ones that can, and that a man can just morph into a woman, and then a woman can morph into a man. And when you question them on it, you're a transphobe, or you're all these other names like a xenophobic, racist, or whatever the hell it may be for that specific conversation. It is so baffling. And it's a scary time to be living in, because if you can't have conversation, then how can you seek out the truth? And the problem is that when you actually quote truth, facts, then all of a sudden your facts and truth aren't real anymore. And you'll be removed off Twitter, YouTube, social media platforms. The left will silence you because they want their reality to be pushed upon people and accepted. But when you push the truth, the real reality and the facts, you get silenced for it. That's a scary time to be living in, folks. This is some Orwellian crap taking place. You see people like Jordan B. Peterson being banned, along with Dave Rubin. You have the editor-in-chief of the Federalist being banned for merely just saying that men are men and women are women. I mean, that has always been the case, but this is the discourse that we have now. We have UC Berkeley professors saying all this stuff. This is some wild, wild things taking place domestically in America. You go out there, and Matt Walsh did this, you go out to other countries and they think you're crazy. I mean, some of these people are pretty primitive, right? They're still living in huts. They don't have TV, cell phone, or anything. They're still living off the land in Africa and other places, other continents. And they literally just laugh at you. So that's never a good thing when you have people going, what the hell are you talking about? That cannot happen. That's impossible. Never seen it. So this is where we're at. And this is the type of stuff that's being indoctrinated within your children, within the kids in the school system, whether it be at a college level or whether it be at K through 12. This is where they're getting it. You don't just have these thoughts magically appear in your mind. It has to be pushed somewhere, and it's being pushed in the school system. It's being pushed on Disney Plus. It's being pushed on all of Hollywood social platforms, whether that's through their streaming services or their Facebook pages, whatever it may be. Their kids are being inculcated with these values, and then they turn into like this. Do any of you want your kid to turn out like that? Because I sure in heck don't. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.